What is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. And today we're going to be going over the end of the Phase 3 setup for Worlds to then see the seeding and everything, and then who's going into the bottom part of the bracket to play against SEC, SOC, and then the lower end SPL teams. I'm going to give you guys a walkthrough. I got the schedule right here, but this is what it's going to look like visually. We're going to go over the schedule and then my predictions. Starting with the schedule, our Thursday set, start at 1 p.m. and it's Warriors Titans in a best of 3 and then Kings Bolts in a best of 3. We'll go over predictions at the end. And then your Friday set starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, best of 3s, is Levi's versus winner of Warriors Titans, and then the Dragons versus the winner of Kings and Bolts. The winners of that actually advance to Worlds, and then they play for seeding on Sunday. Saturday, starting at 11 a.m., you have the Kings Bolts loser. So from right here, the loser of this goes down to the losers part of the bracket, and then the loser of the Levi's Warriors Titans set gets placed down here and go to the loser side of the bracket, and then Warriors Titans loser from here plays against the loser of this set. Once they play through this, the winners of these two sets advance to Worlds, and they play for seeding. They play for 3rd and 4th, and then the winners up here play for 1st and 2nd. So now we'll go through it with predictions so that we can actually arrange it to what it's going to look like, and you guys can get it visually. Warriors versus Titans. Both teams have been pretty inconsistent all year. They have flashes of brilliance. The Warriors actually looked like one of the best teams in the league earlier this year. The Titans just dropping Cyclone a month ago or something like that, picking up Stu. They've been kind of on the come up. I think they've started to look a lot better. They still have not put it all together, and this tournament right here is kind of a way to prove it. If they can beat the Warriors, if they can advance to Worlds as a top 4 seed, it kind of cements them as one of the teams to beat. I think it comes down to this battle of junglers. I think both Lairs and Cubo have been part of the problems with the team's low, and then been part of the reason for their highs. Maybe that's just junglers, but it feels a lot more for these two teams that their inconsistencies just shine through. I do expect the Titans to take this. I think they're finally on the come up. I think Stu is a really good person to have on that team. I think his comms add a lot. I think it makes this team just a really strong team fighting team who also has that early game prowess. But if Lairs does have a pretty bad game, pretty bad set, since it is only a best of 3, you only have 2 games to try to fix it up. But I will be taking the Titans over the Warriors. Going into the second set, Kings versus Bolts. I think we kind of expect this game to be a pretty big blowout. Oh, and for this one, we'll do 2-0 Titans. I think they'll take it 2-0. I think we kind of expect a pretty dominant performance by the Kings. They've kind of been on this really awkward train of Twig being pretty inconsistent, not really playing that well. I don't think varieties look too great over in solo lane. I think Genetics has been a pretty steady, strong player. I think Yarkor's looking good on the Kings, and I expect the Yarkor pickup to actually help these guys out a lot. I expect the Kings to take this 2-0 over the Bolts. And then going into Friday, starting at 11 a.m., we have Levi's versus Titans in a best of 5, which I think helps the Titans a lot more than it does the Levi's. It's actually a rematch of Worlds last year. Levi's took it 3-0 in that. Different teams for both of them, though. I think the Levi's just look like a team almost possessed. I have a very strong inclination to just take them. Pretty dominant. I think the Titans still need a little bit more time, and since Worlds is still about a month and a half away, I think this will be a lot that they can learn from this, and I think this could be a learning kind of curve for them. I expect the Levi's to take this maybe 3-1, 3-0 if they're feeling really good on that day. And then going into the second set Friday, Kings versus Dragons, which I expect to be probably the best set of this entire tournament. I think the Kings have a lot more to prove than the Dragons. The Dragons should be seen as the clear second best team. I don't really expect much to change. I don't think Yarkor makes this Kings team that much better, but I do think it improves them. And depending on how hot they come out against the Bolts, I could see them catapulting this into a really good set against the Dragons. I am going to be taking the Dragons. I'll take them 3-2 because I expect it to be a close set, but there's a very real chance that the Kings are able to take this set. Going into Saturday, starting at 11 a.m., you have the Bolts versus the Titans. I think it's pretty obvious that the Bolts are the worst team out of these top 6. I think they have very strong and blatant weak parts of their games. I think a lot of the other teams at least have mitigatable weaknesses. I think if the Titans dual lane can come out, kind of stomp this Bolts dual lane, maybe put them on something weak in their 2v2, the Titans have a very good chance to take this. This is a best of 5, though, and I think the Bolts, if they can get it rolling, maybe win game 1, tilt this Titans team, I think it's a good chance that the Bolts could actually take it. But if the Titans win game 1, I expect it to be a pretty clean 3-0 set for the Titans. Going into the second set on Saturday, Warriors versus Kings. The Warriors are just such a coin flip team. They have such strong and high highs, and then they have such lows that you just don't know what type of team you're going to be getting. I think it's just safer to take the Kings in a set like this. I think you can kind of expect them to be warmed up through this Bolts game, be pushed to their limits by the Dragons, then come out swinging against the Warriors. So I'm going to be taking the Kings. I would expect it to be somewhat close, maybe 3-1 for the Kings. The Warriors take at least one game. I don't think there's any way that the Warriors actually get swept, unless they get swept by the Titans, and then it just kind of snowballs into just being an absolutely horrible weekend from them. But I've got the Kings versus Titans to play for 3rd and 4th seed. Going into the final day, Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., you have the Dragons versus the Levi's. The Levi's, last time they played, looked like the worst team, but they did end up taking home the W, and I think that's going to change this time. I think the Dragons are going to fix up their mistakes a little bit. I think they'll play a little bit more cleanly, better in the late game, and I think they'll actually take this over the Levi's, maybe 3-1, 3-2. No way it's a sweep in the finals, because I think these games will be really good, and I'm really interested to see how these teams play. And then going into the second set, Kings versus Titans. I think the Kings are just far and away the 3 seed that I expect. As long as Twig comes in and plays a good game of Smite, we've seen him do it before. We've seen him have a bad couple weeks, and then just absolutely pick it up, kick it on for the playoffs. He's a really good playoff player. So I expect the Kings to actually take this. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a pretty big blowout, maybe 3-0, 3-1. Again, it kind of comes down to which Kings do we get? Do we get the Kings that have played all year and looked really consistent? Or do we get the Kings that kind of slack off at times? And kind of same with the Titans. Which layers do we get? Do we get the layers that kind of hard carries his team, gets them through the early game, and still team fights like a beast late game? I think if we can expect Lairs to play a Mannequins Erlang, I think there's a very good chance that the Titans actually take this. Something with just a lot of pressure to generate some pressure for his team. I think that'll be really good, and I'm excited to see how they play with them. But this is what I expect your top 4 to look like. Dragons #1 seed going into Worlds, Levi's #2 seed, Kings #3 seed, and Titans #4 seed. And that means the loser of this final set right here, Warriors and Bolts, are going to have to go to this Road to Worlds SEC Championship thing. If you guys want a video on this, I can do one also. It's going to be very long. I don't know who these teams are, but yeah, it's a very, very long process. It starts Thursday, December 8th and ends Sunday, December 18th. So it's going to be a lot of Smite to determine these teams, but we've still got SPL this weekend. We got the top 6 teams playing against each other. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, drop them down below. What are your guys' predictions? What do you guys think the 1 through 4 seeds are looking like? If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We are on our way to 10K, almost there. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys again next time. Peace.